To get you out to Pittsburgh. It's the Nationals, it's the Pirates. Justin Kutcher, FP Santangelo have the call. A couple of aces on the mound.
That's right, Kevin. We've got a pitching matchup you wish for. Stephen Strasburg, the #1 overall pick in the 2009 draft for the Nationals, against Garrett Cole, the #1 overall pick in the 2011 draft for the Pirates. Two power pitchers squaring off on Baseball Night in America on Fox. A beautiful Saturday night on Memorial Day weekend here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as we get set for Game 3 of this 4-game series between the Nationals and the Pirates here at PNC Park. And hello, everybody. Justin Kutcher alongside FP Santangelo. And FP, there was a slogan for MLB a few years ago saying, "I live for this. I live for this type of a matchup." Two flamethrowers, Garrett Cole against Stephen Strasburg.
Yeah, you live for it. The managers live for it. The players live for it. And hopefully the fans live for it. This is the marquee matchup in baseball tonight. When you talk about Garrett Cole from Santa Ana, California, Stephen Strasburg from San Diego, California, some California heat meeting here in the Steel City. This is going to be a good one.
By the way, FP, he's a California guy. Let's talk about Stephen Strasburg, because this guy, he's supposed to be the ace of this Nationals team. He's had some struggles in that first inning. They need him to be the ace.
Yeah, he's had an ERA over 7 in the first inning, so he struggled to get into his comfort zone, so maybe he has a closer's mentality today. Comes down and locks down the first inning and then gets into his groove.
As far as Garrett Cole is concerned, he's one of those guys, he's like a throwback player. We don't see many of him anymore.
Yeah, he wants to finish a ball game, and if he's not going to finish, he wants to definitely give the ball to his closer. So he's a guy that when he's out there is a baseball player that just happens to pitch.
All right, so it should be a great night for the fans. It might not be a great night for the hitters. They're going to have their work cut out for them with these two guys on the hill. It's Strasburg against Cole. It's Baseball Night in America coming to you from Pittsburgh when we come back. No, that is not a movie set. That is reality. One of the prettiest sights in all of baseball. Truly amazing as we're getting set for this Nationals-Pirates Game 3 of this 4-game series. Time now for the Nationals starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Very similar to last night. Denard Span will lead off and play center field. Anthony Rendon will bat second and play third. In right field, batting third is Jason Worth. The cleanup hitter is the catcher, Wilson Ramos. Ian Desmond at short will bat fifth. The first baseman, Greg Dobbs, bats sixth. Danny Espinosa at second will bat seventh. Nate McLeod, the former Pirate, will bat eighth and play left. And batting ninth is the pitcher, Steven Strasburg. And they will face the right-hander, Garrett Cole, who is making his way out to the mound right now. And Cole's numbers on the season, he has become the ace of this staff in his first full year in Major League Baseball. He got called up last year. His numbers this year, 4-3, a 3.84 ERA. 18 walks, 53 strikeouts in 58 2/3 innings. And FP, what can we expect to see out of this youngster?
Well, this guy's going to challenge you. He's got a fastball in the mid-90s, averaging 95.6 miles an hour this year. He has 3 good off-speed pitches. He'll throw in any count. Slider, curveball, change. The slider 86, the curveball 84, the change at 86. And he's equally nasty on righties, lefties, and anybody that comes off the bench. This guy, we talked to him yesterday, absolutely gets it in more ways than one. He's a baseball player. He's an old-school throwback kind of guy that wants to go 9 innings every time he takes the slab.
And he's a baseball fan. The defense behind Garrett Cole tonight, and the outfield from left to right. Starling Marte, Andrew McCutchen, Josh Harrison. Harrison's been playing great of late for the Pirates. Around the horn in the infield, it's Ike Davis at first base, Neil Walker at second, Clint Barmas at short, Pedro Alvarez at third, and behind the plate, they are very happy to have this guy back, Russell Martin. They missed him, and they missed him big time. The manager, Clint Hurdle, picked up win number 800 last night. Congratulations to him, as the Pirates won the game last night 4-3. And in his first year as a Major League manager, Matt Williams has his team right now at 500. And if you think about it, with all the injuries that this team has had throughout the year, being 500 right now, that is an accomplishment.
Well, they're trying to tread water until the troops come back. Clint Hurdle's trying to recapture the magic they had here in Pittsburgh in 2013. So both managers have their deals going on with the ball clubs, but they like where they're at right now.
Denard Span will lead things off, batting .267, a home run, 11 RBIs. We're all set for baseball. And the first pitch from Garrett Cole is a fastball. That misses inside for ball 1.
96 right out of bed.
The 1-0 from Cole. Fastball on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. The umpires for tonight's game: behind home plate, Gabe Morales; at first base, Tim Timmons; second base, Tim Welke; and at third base, Todd Titchener. Cole's 1-1. Popped up on the outfield grass as Walker at second. And there's one away.
So I talked to Clint Hurdle today before the game, and I said, you know what, I've watched you guys for 2 games now, and you throw inside more than any ball club I've seen this year. And he said that's an organizational philosophy to where we believe in making hitters uncomfortable. We like to throw inside. We like to throw inside for strikes. We like to throw inside for balls, and we're not afraid to move some feet every now and then. So when you talk about an old school guy like Garrett Cole on the mound today, the organizational philosophy of pitching in, I love it.
That fastball kind of choked outside. 1 ball, no strikes to Anthony Rendon, batting .255, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs. And look, Garrett Cole said to us yesterday, he grew up watching Roger Clemens, Kevin Brown, guys who were not afraid to throw inside. And personally, I love it. I love seeing a guy who's not afraid to throw inside.
I mean, he's going to compete, number 1.
In the air to center field, McCutchen backs up a couple steps. 2 away here in the first.
But you and I both, after talking to Garrett Cole for about 15 minutes yesterday, were fans. It's all you had to do is just look that guy in the eye and see the passion that he has for the game of baseball. Maybe not so much just pitching, but for the game of baseball, for the love of the game. And you don't see too many guys like that nowadays. Yeah, they all love the game, and obviously they worked hard to get to this level. But this guy is a guy who grew up going to Angels games with his dad, grew up a Yankees fan, actually turned down the Yankees when they drafted him in the first round. So you and I walked out of the clubhouse yesterday, big-time Garrett Cole fans, and how couldn't you be?
Oh, it was a great conversation as he starts off Jason Worth with a fastball high and outside. Worth's numbers on the season, 278, 5 home runs, and 20 RBIs. But Gerrit Cole, I mean, this is a guy who was drafted first round out of high school by the Yankees. After he told them, I'm not signing, I'm going to college. And it wasn't about the money for him. He just said, look, I wasn't ready. I was 17 years old. I wasn't ready to go pro. I needed to mature, and that's why he went to UCLA, became the #1 pick for the Pirates in 2011. And, I mean, he is a cornerstone, a foundation for this Pirates team. When you think about what they have in the outfield with McCutchen, Starling Marte, they've got a kid coming up in Polanco who's going to play right field, probably not in the too distant future. And you've got a pitcher like Cole on the mound. That's a good building block.
Well, let me see. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and 8-hour bus rides in A-ball, or the campus in Westwood of UCLA. I mean, he did turn down a lot of money, but he ended up being a first pick of the Pirates, and that all took care of itself. So I think he made a great decision. And, you know, there's a big difference between players that sign out of high school and go to college and get that whole, you know, social atmosphere and mature that way.
2-2 pitch, ground ball to short. Barmish charging on the run. And a 1-2-3 inning worked by Gerrit Cole. No score at the end of a half inning. Strasburg will take the hill against the Pirates when we come back. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to live Mosh. Josh Harrison will lead things off, followed by Neil Walker, Andrew McCutchen, Ike Davis. In the 5-hole is Russell Martin batting 6th. Pedro Alvarez, the bottom third of the order. Starling Marte, Clint Barmis, and Gerrit Cole to face Stephen Strasburg. Strasburg's numbers on the year. He's 3-3 with a 3.38 ERA, 61 the third innings pitched, 16 walks, 74 strikeouts. A surprising number. Opponents average 264, but a big key is that first inning.
Yeah, got to get out of the first inning. That's a key for Stephen Strasburg. 3 home runs in the first inning this year. 3-run home runs in the first inning. Fastball 94. And a lot of teams have been jumping on that first pitch fastball. They're hitting .433 on the first pitch this year against Stephen Strasburg.
Josh Harrison lays off the first pitch fastball and takes it for a ball. Harrison, a utility guy, hitting .296 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. Oh no, popped up in the infield. Rendon in foul territory, makes the catch, 1 away. Time for the Lowe's never stop improving pitcher profile. Stephen Strasburg, this is what we're talking about. That ERA in the first inning, and then look what he does after that.
Well, it's something that it takes him a while to settle into a baseball game and to get the rhythm and get into a groove. I talked to Steve McCaddy yesterday about it. He's simulating the first 3 hitters in the bullpen when he's getting loose before the game. So they're going over that. But, you know, for a power guy, sometimes you come out, you're a little overamped, you miss your spots, and it takes you a minute to settle in, get your rhythm, and get to your location. And if you're missing your location, Justin, and guys are coming out hacking against you, you're going to run into some barrels, and that's what has happened early for Strasburg this year.
As you mentioned, 3 3-run home runs in the first inning this year. He has surrendered. Ahead in the count, 0-1 to Neil Walker. Trying with the breaking ball, missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Steven Strasburg, a guy who just exploded onto the scene. So much hype coming in. #1 overall pick in 2009 out of San Diego State. 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Walker. Made his major league debut against the Pirates in D.C. And it was one of the most electrifying debuts we've seen in I don't know how long. 14 strikeouts. And everyone's kind of been waiting for him to take over and be that dominant pitcher, and of course they had the innings limit for him. 1-2, got Walker swinging. His first strikeout.
Well, that was only a 91-mile-an-hour changeup right there to strike out Neil Walker. Watch this. That's his put-away pitch, the changeup at 91 miles an hour. So for some of you maybe seeing Steven Strasburg for the first time, he's got a 91-mile-an-hour changeup, and he had triple digits on this day in his debut in D.C.
And that's what he did. He showed that 91-mile-per-hour changeup. He struck out 14, didn't walk a guy, and that may have been the most impressive part of that game. Is he did not walk a batter in his MLB debut, going 7 innings.
Well, very few times does the performance live up to the hype, and that was the case. And he loves pitching against the Pirates. In 4 starts this year, 14 Ks, 13 Ks, 4 starts his career, excuse me, 14 Ks, 13 Ks, 12 and 8. So this is a team that he likes to pitch against.
He's got 1 so far. Now he's 1 ball, 1 strike to Andrew McCutchen, the reigning MVP. McCutchen in the air to center field. Span going back. He's under it, and a quick 1-2-3 inning work by Strasburg. So that's a good sign for the Nationals. We played 1, no score here in Pittsburgh. By Taco Bell breakfast. Wake up, live Moss. Back here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Just found out today that Pittsburgh has the most bridges of any city other than Venice.
Well, that's all you got to do is look out there. Come on, they're everywhere. Look, bridge there.
It's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I mean, you never get sick of coming to this park. It's one of the best in the league, and you said it earlier. It's like a movie set out there with our view. It just doesn't look real.
Wilson Ramos will lead things off here in the second against Garrett Cole, and the first pitch fastball is low and outside. Ramos just 9 for 48 on the season, 188. No home runs, 6 RBIs. Down the right field line, slicing out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, he missed 32 games with a broken hamate bone. They took the hamate bone out, so he's still trying to get his strength back to where he's playing without pain, and he can actually finish his swing with one hand. Early on, coming off the disabled list, he was keeping 2 hands on the bat. As a hitter, that really doesn't allow you to get that extension, create that backspin. This guy's got tremendous pop, and he might be the best player in baseball, or the best catcher in baseball, that not a lot of people have heard about because of a number of injuries over the last 2 or 3 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, even before the game, just talking about him batting cleanup, but you said, hey, he was the cleanup hitter opening day. This is who they go with. And again, all the injuries. You've got Ramos, who's missed all those games, just back. Again, 48 at-bats. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count here to Ramos. Cole looking for his first strikeout of the game. Broken back, ground ball to third. Alvarez across the diamond, 1 away. Joining Ramos on that DL throughout the season. I mean, this list is almost staggering. Ryan Zimmerman, Bryce Harper, Adam LaRoche, Gio Gonzalez, those guys are still on the DL. Doug Fister missed 34 games. Ramos missed those 32 that you said. I mean, these aren't like, you know, just bench players. These are marquee guys.
Those are featured guys, most of them. And guess what? Nobody else around the league cares. And as a ball club, when you lose your guys, there's a lot of teams, or most of them are happy that they're out. Not happy that they're hurt, but that gives you an advantage. But they should be getting Adam LaRoche back tomorrow. He took batting practice today, hit a few balls in the river. His quad's good, and he could be activated tomorrow. And I know that Matt Williams is really excited about that, getting his first baseman back.
Ian Desmond at the plate takes that first pitch, first strike. Missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Desmond on the season. 235, 8 home runs, and 26 RBIs for the shortstop. Been heating up lately. Fastball is inside. 2-1.
Early in the season, Desmond hacking at everything. He's a very aggressive hitter, but lately he's been getting into counts. I mean, in April it was 0-2 every time he walked up there because he was swinging at everything, and now in May the game has slowed down. He's relaxed, and he's learned that it's easier to hit 3-1 than 0-2.
Weird, right?
Weird how that works.
3-1. Ground ball to third. Alvarez charging. Difficult play. Makes it easily.
A nice play right here by Pedro Alvarez on the run. Once he secures it in his glove, perfect throw, sidearm whip right on the money by Davis. Nicely done. This is a guy that leads the Pirates in errors, but he makes a nice play right here. You see the grip? That's the key on the run. You got to get those seams. And Desmond, a plus runner. Nice play.
Greg Dobbs steps to the plate, and with Dobbs the lefty up, the Pirates shift for the first time. And Dobbs goes the other way and delivers a single into left field for the first hit of the ball game. He goes shift on that.
Well, you and I talked yesterday. We've got the similar opinions on the shift. But right here, Greg Dobbs, seeing everybody on the right side of the infield, decides to dump one over the left side of the infield for the first hit of the night for the Nats.
2 outs, runner on first now for Danny Espinosa. Espinosa on the season, 218 with 6 home runs and 12 RBIs. Fastball in the inside corner at 95. You watch both Cole and Strasburg throw the ball. And it doesn't look like they're exerting all that much effort. And you look at the radar gun, it's 95, 96.
Well, I thought it was very interesting. We talked about deception with Garrett Cole yesterday and how Jim Benedict played a big part in his development in the minor leagues with the Pirates. And you see how he just keeps that glove right under his armpit and the ball comes right behind his glove, to where when he first was a major leaguer or a professional pitcher, he was taking that glove toward the first base dugout, and you could see his fastball a lot easier.
Well, you couldn't see that fastball. His first strikeout of the game as he strikes out Espinosa. No runs on one hit, one man left on. Both guys have a strikeout here through an inning and a half. No score. Sponsored by the Lincoln Motor Company. This is where a new conversation begins. The skyline here, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, one of the nicest skylines you will see. Now it's time for tonight's Keys to the Game, brought to you by the Lincoln Motor Company. What can we look for?
Well, the Nats have to show up early. They've had trouble getting out of the gates in innings 1 through 2 this year. They're minus 37 in run differential. That's the worst in baseball. And for the Pirates, Andrew McCutchen has to keep doing his thing. He has killed the Nationals in 32 career games, a .383 average, and 13 home runs.
That is pretty good numbers.
Yeah. That's why he's the MVP.
Mike Davis bounced it foul. No balls and 2 strikes here to Davis. Ike Davis, who the Pirates got in a trade with the New York Mets. Maybe the best thing that ever happened to Ike Davis, getting out of New York, getting out of that funk that he couldn't escape no matter what he did. And you see his numbers this year at 276, 3 home runs, 15 RBIs. In the last 3 weeks or so, he has really stepped up his game, getting comfortable again. Just throws the hands out. Span comes in, makes the running catch.
Well, both center fielders tonight take as clean a routes as you'll see center fielders take. They get great jumps. They go straight to the baseball. And for a center fielder, the hardest play is the line drive right at you. You see Ike Davis getting fooled on the changeup. Does a nice job just to put it in play. You're thinking this might drop it with Denard Span. I've been fortunate enough to see that for 2 years now. Watch the route. I mean, he gets some of the best jumps in baseball. So does Andrew McCutchen, and there's not going to be a lot of hits to center field in this game tonight.
Now Russell Martin steps to the plate, takes that first pitch off the forearm or bicep, and he'll be on base. The first base runner of the game against Strasburg, a hit by pitch.
I think a changeup gets away from Strasburg right here, or maybe a curveball that just didn't come back. So he tries to go first pitch curveball against Martin. Kind of squirts out of there, and Martin with the elbow guard on takes one for the team, and the Pirates with the base runner here.
I mean, he's no FP Santangelo. He's got a lot of catching up to get to your record. What was it, 25?
In one season, switch hitter. It's my Happy Gilmore record.
Hit by a pitch 25 times in one season. What year was that?
I think 1997. Justin, it takes a lot of talent to stand in front of a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, let me tell you.
Talent, brains, all the above.
Hey, whatever it takes. And Russell Mark is one of those guys. That's the glue of this ball club right there. He's a big reason why they got to the playoffs last year. The way he handles his staff, his winning attitude.
Pedro Alvarez takes the first pitch in their first strike, 0-1. Alvarez was dropped down to the 6th hole in last night's game. On the season, 213, 9 home runs, 27 RBIs. And Alvarez responded well to being dropped down to the 6th hole. A 2-run homer in the ballgame.
Yeah, last night Alvarez actually in the 6th hole, maybe a little pressure off him. Got a first pitch changeup from Jordan Zimmerman and crushed it in the Pirates' bushes out there in center field. Absolutely destroyed the baseball. He's got some pop, obviously.
Breaking ball to short. Desmond steps on the bag. Over first. And a 6-6-3 inning-ending double play. Baseball Night in America on Fox will return after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. No score Nationals and Pirates. We are joined down on the field by the winning pitcher of last night's ball game, Charlie Morton. Charlie, thanks for joining us here. How about that game last night? As FP said to me, you were wildly effective. How would you describe your performance?
It was all right. Made some mistakes. I didn't pay too much for the mistakes I made. You know, left some guys on base. Made some good pitches here and there, but yeah, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, but for a hitter, Charlie, I mean, last night you'd throw a curveball way out of the zone, then you paint one. Then you throw a fastball way out of the zone, then you paint one. So from a hitter standpoint, that's not an easy at-bat because even though you walk 4 guys, that's what I call effectively wild.
Yeah, I mean, those walks were just bad. Were just bad at-bats. You know, I mean, I felt like I was falling behind those guys. That fell behind pretty quick, and I stayed behind, and I ended up walking them. I don't know. I didn't really feel like the at-bats that I was effective in, that I wasn't pitching well. I mean, I feel like I made some really good pitches in certain at-bats, and then the other ones, you saw those walks. I mean, I was just all over the place.
We're looking at some highlights last night of you with some strikeouts. Through 108 pitches in 5 2/3 innings as Nate McLeod, he got hit by a pitch here by Garrett Cole, so he's on at first. I want to ask you about this, though, because Steven Strasburg is now hitting against Garrett Cole. What is it like as a pitcher, as Strasburg squares around a bunt, can't get it down, going up there and facing another major league pitcher? If you haven't hit in a while, or your first at bat, do you remember who your first at bat was against?
No, I don't. I don't remember. I remember my first professional at bat. That was in Double-A.
Okay. And how nervous were you?
It was weird. It was just it was different because in high school in Connecticut.
That's right. He's getting the CT reference out there. Way to go.
I don't know. You just get out there on a professional field. The lines are clean, and the grass is nice and neat and short, and the guy's throwing hard, and you're just, oh my goodness, it's like surreal. But I did put a ball in play. I haven't really put many balls in play this year, but yeah, I mean it's tough because you get a chance to see what guys are seeing out of you, and how difficult it is to be a hitter.
By the way, you can tell Edinson Volquez that you're going to throw seeds at him too.
No, I don't do. He's the troublemaker.
Strasburg tried to bunt, and that is strike 3. So Strasburg strikes out. That's number 2 in the game for Cole, in the first out here in the 3rd.
Yeah, but Charlie, I mean, you got your first win of the year last night. So, I mean, I feel like you're being critical, and that's what good pitchers do. You want to be better next time out, but it had to feel good to get on the board with the W for the first time, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I was 0-6. Now I'm 1-6. I mean, it's not that much of an improvement. But yeah, it was my son's first birthday yesterday.
Well, tell him happy birthday.
So thank you. So
you got the win on his birthday. That was a good birthday present.
It was a good day.
I'm sure he'll appreciate that one.
Yeah.
Maybe a baby Einstein as well.
Well, he's got all the toys he can handle.
One away here in the 3rd. We are speaking with Charlie Morton, the winning pitcher for the Pirates from last night's ball game against these Nationals. So look over at first base. McLeod is back in. Now you can see exactly what Charlie is dealing with, trying not to break stride, despite the fact that Volquez is throwing things at him. Doing a nice job.
Be focused.
Staying focused, yes. Bernard Span at the plate, popped out to second, his first time up. Charlie, one last question for you. As we're all baseball fans here, and we're watching this matchup of Cole versus Strasburg. As a fellow pitcher, a player, a teammate, do you look at this matchup and do you get as excited as the fans and the broadcasters do?
I look at them as individuals. They're two extremely talented individuals. It's always fun to get a chance to watch guys that are capable of doing what they can do. So, and I think it's great for the game. I think that's the way the game is trending in terms of what's really drawing attention right now is the younger guys that are coming up, and you get a chance to see how good young guys can be and how quickly they can contribute.
McLeod takes off. Martin's throw, the shortstop side of the bag, and a stolen base here for McLeod. Hey Charlie, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the win, and tell your son happy birthday for us.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Runner at scoring position right now here for the Nationals as McLeod picks up his second stolen base of the year.
Pretty good throw by Russell Martin right here, just on the other side of the bag, and that's the difference as McLeod gets his foot in there. So you see the jump by McLeod, the quick release from Russell Martin, and Cliff Barmas trying to get the tag over there, but he beats the throw. Hey, McLeod's a guy that before every start will watch video on the pitcher, not his pitches, but his move to first base, to see if he can pick up tendencies to get that extra step on his jump.
1-0 pitch is inside. 2 balls and no strikes here to Span. Cole was very good the first time through the order. Gave up a hit to Dobbs. The hit by pitch to McLeod lead off this inning. And that's it. Now he's facing Span behind the count. 2 balls and no strikes. apparently Charlie wasn't as excited as we are for this matchup. Little flare. Pop up to short. Barmes is there. 2 away.
Well, I don't know if he gets excited about anything, and that might be a good quality for a pitcher to have.
Definitely wasn't excited about his performance last night.
I don't think he likes you personally. That was good. That was. You got on the board with a W. Now you go if you're Charlie Morton, right?
Yeah.
The first one's the hardest, obviously, and you got that last night.
2 away here in the top of the 3rd. Justin Kutcher alongside FP Santangelo here in Pittsburgh as Anthony Rendon steps to the plate. Flew out to center field his first time up. First pitch in there for a strike with a fastball at 96. It may sound crazy when you have a guy like Ryan Zimmerman who's on the DL right now, but this player right here, Anthony Rendon, he's the third baseman of the future for the Nationals.
Yeah, he's been struggling lately to get his base hits. He still has a decent approach at the plate, but he got off to such a hot start for the Nationals, and then they had a couple of injuries. Was the second baseman on opening day. Then they moved him to his natural position, third base. But you see April, good. May, not so good.
1-1, good pitch on the outside corner. 1-2.
And I think when you have big guys like Bryce Harper, Adam LaRoche, Ryan Zimmerman out, and you have a hot April like that, now all of a sudden you become the focus of all the pre-series meetings, the scouting reports, to where they might have just gone over you real quick and said, yeah, hard and soft away. Now you're the guy they circle, and they really go over how to get you out with the scouts in the stands to the pre-series meetings.
Good block there by Russell Martin. That's 2 balls and 2 strikes here to Anthony Rendon.
And Russell Martin is as athletic a catcher as you'll ever see. Sliding over, textbook, getting the glove down, chest in front of it, finding the baseball.
He still has one of the best catches I've ever seen a catcher make in foul territory when he slid across that warning track at Dodger Stadium into the dugout. Love that play.
Yeah, that was awesome.
The 2-2 from Cole. Fastball just missing outside. Martin tried to frame it.
But you see the reach back right there from Garrett Cole, 98 miles an hour. And I guess it just missed, maybe up. You see Martin with the frame trying to pull it back into the strike zone by a call. 98.
The payoff pitch from Cole. Fouled back, we'll do it again. 97 that time. The Pirates, they have won 3 in a row and 4 of 5. And it all really starts with their starting pitching.
Talk about Garrett Cole. He's 4-3. The rest of the staff 3-17.
Unbelievable. Another 3-2 fouled away.
Steven Strasburg will go to his curveball and his changeup to strike you out. Garrett Cole is trying to throw hard, harder, and hardest, and I love it. I mean, he might go with a slider here after 3 or 4 consecutive fastballs, but you love a guy that trusts his stuff, and that's exactly what Garrett Cole does. He trusts his heater. It's like, here it is, hit it. I'm challenging you. Let's see what you got.
Well, how much of that is because maybe he trusts his heater right now, but doesn't trust that slider right now to get the out?
Well, that's a good point, but if I got 98 in my back pocket, I will definitely trust that every single start. And I think they're talking it over right here. What they're comfortable with, and when you got a veteran like Nate McLouth on second base who's seen the sequence a few times, maybe Russell Martin goes no sign right here and just want to talk it over with his pitcher.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runner in scoring position is Nate McLouth. Top of the 3rd inning.
Let's see if Martin goes sign right here. Nope, no sign. They just talked about it.
Fastball, and that's pulled foul.
And if you talk to pitchers, they're all paranoid. They all think that every base runner on second base is relaying location, relaying signs. Even if they're not, they think that. So
Did you relay those?
So as a catcher, you go out and you say, hey, even if you think it, let's just go no sign. Now he has to give a sign because he didn't go to the mound, but it just makes the pitcher more comfortable about what he's about to throw.
Spin back and look at McLouth.
Oh, sorry, did you ask me a question?
I can't remember. 3 balls and 2 strikes here to Anthony Rendon. Trying to get that run in from second. Another fastball popped up, foul territory. Martin gives it a look, but that'll go into the seats. And I cannot applaud that fan right there. That was a pop-up that you have to make an effort on. He did not even get out of his seats. And I think some of the fans are booing him, and rightfully so.
I didn't see it. I do know that as a hitter, you have about 5 of these at-bats throughout your career, and you remember them all to where it's here it is, hit it. He's not trying to trick anybody. They're going with the fastball exclusively here to Anthony Rendon, and I'd be surprised if they try something else. They may right now, but you got to love this. This is what it's all about.
10th pitch of the at-bat, another fastball.
They're all fastballs. He's not trying to trick anybody. We talked about old school before the game.
Yep.
This is old school. You don't see this in today's game. It's about tricking guys and making them look silly on a curveball or throwing a split in the dirt. Right now, Garrett Cole and Anthony Rendon are having a good old-fashioned country hardball session, and this is great. That's what it's all about.
The 11th pitch. He went with the off-speed, missed outside with it. So a great at-bat by Anthony Rendon. First and second, 2 outs here in the 3rd. And Jason Worth will step to the plate as we look. We saw the fastballs being thrown there by Garrett Cole. Well, he's number 2 in baseball, in the National League, with the highest average fastball. There's some pretty impressive names on this list.
Steven Strasburg sneaking in there with 94.3. Strasburg's fastball in 2010 when he got called up averaged 97.3.
First pitch slider to Jason Worth in their first strike. So what are you thinking if you're Jason Worth? You saw all those fastballs and a slider missing outside, and he starts you off with a slider.
But he's showing me some respect, and he knows I can turn around a fastball, and we'll see if he goes with it here. They've been pitching Jason Worth in with the hard stuff.
Just outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Garrett Cole threw 24 pitches in the first 2 innings combined. He's thrown 22 in this inning now. Fastball paints the outside corner. 1 and 2 here to Worth. Of course, 11 of those pitches were in the at-bat against Rendon.
Great pitch right here. Just a run-back fastball at 97. Starts off the plate and just comes back to nip the front corner. That's a perfect pitch by Garrett Cole.
So now you have options if you're Cole. Ahead in the count, 1 and 2. You got a catcher that you trust in Russell Martin behind the plate. Trying to go inside with a fastball, just missing at 98.
And see Russell Martin setting up late. He gets in there late. They want the fastball down and into Worth. Worth holds up his swing. And Garrett doesn't get the call, but I think that's exactly where he wanted that. He didn't care if he missed off the plate right there. If you're going in, it's like Clinton Hurdle said before the game, we throw in off the plate too.
2-2 went with a slider. So that fastball set up the slider. Stays 2 and 2. And if you're Garrett Cole right now, I mean, are you getting frustrated because you didn't bring in the heat? You couldn't get Anthony Rendon to strike out. You couldn't get him out. Now you are heading to count 1 and 2. It's 2-2. A good job by Worth to foul off a pitch.
Well, it's a high-stress inning. He's reaching back and redlining maybe a little bit earlier in the game that he wants to. It's the 3rd inning, and he's having to make the best pitches right now. To where, you know, sometimes a guy throws 110 pitches, but it's cruise control.
Right.
He never has to, you know, bear down and get outs with runners in scoring position. Or a guy throws 80 pitches, but he's redlining the whole time because he's got situations going on behind him. And right now, Garrett Cole is reaching down deep to make a quality pitch to get out of this inning.
17 pitches to the last 2 batters combined. And now he calls out his catcher, Russell Martin, to discuss what they want to do here on 2 and 2. What do you do here on 2 and 2?
Well, you have 2 pitches to work with. You don't have to go to your out pitch right here. You can always set something up in a 3-2 count if you have confidence in your command at this point. but I've seen Clint Hurdle's ball club throw into Jason Worth in the first 2 games of this series. They may go with that fastball in.
2-2 right down the middle. And Cole gets the strikeout he was looking for. His 3rd of the game. And the Nats strand 2 men here in the 3rd. No scores. We go to the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Bottom 3rd of the order for the Pirates to face Stephen Strasburg. Starling Marte will lead things off. And the first pitch breaking ball is in there for a strike. Marte on the season, 257, 4 home runs, and 15 RBIs. Late on that fastball. No balls and 2 strikes.
So you throw the first pitch curveball, steal strike 1. Then it speeds up the 95 to Starling Marte right there. That probably looked like 100.
He was definitely late on it.
It's the last guy in baseball you want to get to 2 strikes with.
Missing outside with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Do you think he comes back here with a changeup?
Maybe bounce a curve. Marte's a guy that likes to swing. Or fastball away.
So we've narrowed it down.
So either a fastball, curveball, or a changeup, Justin. That's what I think he's going to throw. Well, Marte doing a nice job of laying off. In the first couple of games of this series, he's been swinging from the on-deck circle. I don't think he's taken too many pitches, and they're going to go with the wipeout changeup right here in a 2-2 count.
Pulled to 3rd base. Rendon fields it cleanly. 1 away. Next Saturday, we've got another Major League Baseball doubleheader. It begins on Fox Sports 1 with the Braves facing the Marlins. Then it's Baseball Night in America here on Fox as the Rays face the Red Sox or these Pirates take on the Dodgers. Our MLB doubleheader begins next Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on Fox. 1 out now for Clint Barmas. 220, no home runs, 4 RBIs for the Pirates shortstop. First pitch fastball's in there for a strike.
And you can see Strasburg kind of getting into his rhythm now. We talked about the first inning being the hiccup for him this year, but once he gets into that groove and that rhythm, and he's throwing strikes with the fastball, I mean, he's as tough as at bat as you'll see. I mean, everybody thinks about the out pitches with Strasburg and that he throws hard, but the command with the fastball sets up everything else. If he can throw that fastball down the zone to a corner, even though it's mid-90s, now you're almost at his mercy as a hitter.
0-2, just missing outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes here to Barmes. Called foul out of play. Stays 1-2 here to Barmes. We haven't seen Strasburg go to that changeup very much here in the first 3 innings.
That was a changeup right there. He left it up. The key for Strasburg in his good outings this year is he's thrown the changeup early in the count for a strike. It's something he didn't do early in his career, to where the changeup was more like a split with 2 strikes. It was his out pitch. This year he's learned how to feather it in there 0-0, 1-0 behind the count to get a strike with it.
1-2, pulled foul again. You talked about his velocity when he first came into the big leagues and what the average fastball is now. He had Tommy John surgery. He had some surgery this offseason. What do you think? Are those the reasons why his velocity has dropped, or is he trying to learn how to pitch without max effort? 1-2 to shortstop. Desmond charge him. 2 away.
Well, I still think it's in the tank. There's no doubt about it. I mean, he's still got 97, 98 reach back. He just, is trying to get deeper into ball games to where the pitch count is lower, and he's not trying to strike everybody out. It's hard to do when you have stuff like that. Garrett Cole, same way. You can take these electric arms, these electric young arms, and say, we want you to pitch to contact, but hey, if the gods blessed you with strikeout stuff, you have to use that strikeout stuff and miss bats. All this in today's game, going deep into games, pitching to contact, with guys like Strasburg and Cole, I think that's nonsense. Just go out there, throw your best stuff, and try to strike guys out, because you can.
Watch how this ball just disappears. The fact that Barmes was able to put that ball in play was pretty impressive. 2 outs now for Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, not an automatic out at the plate. Takes the first pitch fastball for a strike. Cole, you ready for this? Hitting .294 on the season, 5 for 17.
It's a baseball player. Clint Hurdle say he's a backyard baseball player that just happens to pitch.
Even while talking to him yesterday, he starts, showing off his swing, and it looked like a good swing, and that's a good act right there. Is he able to foul it back? And he's mad at himself for fouling that pitch back.
He is. He got 95 right down the middle. In his mind, this ball should be in the seats in left field. It's a good hack.
The 1-2 from Strasburg. Two balls and 2 strikes here to Cole. The Pirates have had 1 base runner in the game. It was Russell Martin, who was hit by a pitch. Fastball is outside. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. And there's respect here from Steven Strasburg with Garrett Cole at the plate.
Definitely, but Garrett Cole's a competitor. Whether he's playing cards in the clubhouse, on the mound, or in the batter's box, he's competing. It's something you really can't teach. He has it.
Payoff pitch. Pop up in the infield. Espinosa makes the catch in the outfield grass, and a 1-2-3 inning work by Strasburg. We're through 3, no score here in Pittsburgh. Fox is sponsored by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. And by T-Mobile. Top of the 4th inning here in Pittsburgh. No score. Pirates and Nationals. Garrett Cole against Steven Strasburg. 11th time #1 overall picks have started a game against each other. And of course, this goes back to 1965, the first year of the draft. But there's something different about this meeting of #1 picks, because they're only 2 years removed from each other, 09 and 11. And maybe it's because the power arms or what they present, but for me, this is a different feeling than other #1 picks matching up against each other.
Well, there's so much hype around both guys, but I think you hit it right on the head. It is the power arms. You got young guys throwing upper 90s. It's good for baseball. Both of these guys are good for baseball.
Wilson Ramos takes the first pitch fastball in the outside corner for a strike. Ramos grunted out to third base his first time up. Oh, and 2. By the way, the player drafted #1 overall between these two, Bryce Harper.
So those are 3 monster drafts.
Yeah, not bad. 0-2 fastball in the outside corner at 97.
Well, you talk about fastball command with Steven Strasburg. How about this, folks? 97, swing back fastball down the zone. Russell Martin setting off the plate. It comes back. And as a hitter, there's not a whole lot you can do. Look at the long stride to get the velocity, the deception and delivery, and the absolute pinpoint command with 97. That's not an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. That's 97. He's putting it where he wants it.
First pitch is in there to Ian Desmond, first strike. Desmond also 0 for 1. He too grunted out to Pedro Alvarez his first time up. Hit well to left field, going back is Marte. Marte still going back at the wall. Gone. Ian Desmond puts the Nationals on the board with his 9th home run of the year.
Let's check out the pitch from Cole. I think it was a slider at 87 miles an hour. And Ian Desmond gets every bit of this one. So painted some fastballs on Wilson Ramos, went to the off speed, and Ian Desmond makes him pay. 1-0 Nationals.
Greg Dobbs steps in. First pitch swinging to center field. In comes McCutchen, lays out, and he can't hang on. A great effort by McCutchen, but couldn't hold on. So a 1-out single for Dobbs, who's now 2 for 2.
Well, the Nationals have hit into some tough luck lately, and I guarantee you everybody in the first base dugout when Andrew McCutchen can't hang on to this, and what an effort by McCutchen. And everybody in that first base dugout, maybe in unison, thought our luck is starting to change. The Nationals have hit into some terrible luck lately. And they have had plays made against him that have made highlight reels every single night. Great effort by McCutchen.
Danny Espinosa steps in. Takes that first pitch fastball for a strike. Greg Dobbs now 2 for 2 on the night. Espinosa struck out his first time up. One of 4 strikeout victims so far for Garrett Cole. Good pitch, 0-2. I don't know about you, but this is one of those innings where I'm very curious to see how Cole responds, because he had that tough 3rd inning. He gives up the home run here. Now a single, almost a near diving catch. Can he avoid the crooked number here in the inning? Just give up 1 and get out.
We talked about him redlining to get out of that jam in the 3rd inning. He threw 27 pitches, and they weren't just 27 pitches. He had to make quality pitches to the middle of the Nats order.
Makes a quality pitch right there where Espinosa cannot hold up. That's the 5th strikeout for the game for Cole.
Watch Garrett Cole's reaction to the Ian Desmond home run. Throws a first pitch slider to Desmond. and knew that that one was ticketed for the seats. Ian Desmond, a first pitch fastball guy. He and Russell Martin decided to go with the off speed. And it didn't do a whole lot, and Ian Desmond made him pay.
Now Nate McLouth takes the first pitch inside for ball one. McLouth was hit by a pitch his first time up. Stole second, was stranded at second in that tough third inning for Garrett Cole. Hit the other way, foul into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Just because a guy's a first pitch fastball guy doesn't mean you don't throw it. What you really have to concentrate on is locating the fastball if he's a hacker.
One ball, 2 strikes here to McLouth with 2 outs in the 4th. Backdoor breaking ball. Cole thought he had it. Started walking off the mound. Home plate umpire Gabe Morales thought it was maybe a bit outside.
Pretty good pitch. You see Cole with a lean to his dugout.
Two. Check swing. Did he go? He didn't. And again, Cole thought he had strike 3. Forget about the swing. He thought he had it on the location. And I got to be honest, I thought he had it too.
And McLouth taking a couple close pitches right here. Let's see where this one was. It's the curveball. And does it come back to get played? I mean, there's a lot of things going on there. McLouth might have went too. Nate McLouth's got 9 lives in this at-bat.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Dobbs will be off with the pitch. Ground ball, second base. Walker makes the play, and that'll do it here in the inning. But Ian Desmond gets the Nats on the board. On the slider. His 9th home run of the season, and Cole knew it right away. 1-0 Nationals. This was the final pitch of the top half of the 4th. Watch Garrett Cole. You can see him reach for that right foot, that right ankle area right away. When he left the field, he went right down the tunnel. and then Clint Hurdle went to the bullpen phone. So not a good sign if you're the Pirates. When you've got your young ace on the mound in Garrett Cole, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll keep an eye on the bullpen. Right now, there's no action up for the Pirates out there. Leading off here in the 4th inning is Josh Harrison against Steven Strasburg. And timeout called at the plate. Harrison fouled out to third base his first time up. Steven Strasburg has yet to give up a hit to the first 3 innings. Did hit a batter. And that pitch is pulled foul as we're joined down on the field in the dugout for the Nationals by Doug Fister. And Doug, thanks for joining us. First things first, how are you feeling? You spent some time in the DL this year.
Thanks for having me first. And, everything's been feeling pretty well so far. Spent a little time on the DL with a couple different issues, but overall everything's feeling pretty strong. And, it's definitely a positive thing to get back in here. I like the team that we have. We've got a lot of potential. We're playing well and really just trying to get some momentum going.
Yeah, a new guy and a new team. You had to wait around a month for your first start. That must have been tough. I mean, how you fitting in? How's it going with the new ball club?
It was definitely a long time coming. It definitely made it a little more difficult where I hadn't pitched for these guys yet. But, the time I spent on the DL, I really spent trying to get to know each guy and have a relationship with each one. So, it definitely wasn't a wasted month. So everything's been good so far. Gotten to know these guys really well. Got a great staff and a great team to be a part of.
What are you seeing from Steven out there tonight?
He's got really good command tonight. He's got some great stuff. Keeping the ball down, in and out a lot of the times, and that's a big thing for him. He's got such a live arm, but he's got the secondary to go with it, and throwing those for strikes is such a huge thing for him.
Doug, you played and was on the same staff with Justin Verlander. Steven Strasburg, coming out of college, he was kind of compared to Verlander. How would you compare these two, having spent time now on the staff with both of them?
Each one has the similarities, but yet they're still different.
Walker gets into one to center field. Span goes back at the wall, leaps up, gone. Walker with his 10th home run of the season. And we're tied up at 1.
Just a majestic blast off the bat of Neil Walker. Straight up in the air, and you were wondering if it had enough carry. You look at the Pirates dugout as they celebrate. And the first hit of the night for the Pirates, a big one. Ball up in the zone, belt high. Walker got all of it. It had the sound, span back to the fence. And you're just wondering if he had enough to get up and catch this ball, but looks like it made it out by a lot.
Andrew McCutchen now at the plate. Sorry about that, Doug, although as a pitcher, as soon as it was hit, you said, uh-oh. So going back to that, about Verlander and Strasburg, what you see from the two of them?
There's a lot of similarities. The ability to throw strikes at any time, the liveness of the arm. He's got some great pitches. And the biggest thing is he knows what he does best, and he sticks with it. He doesn't want to get best with his second or third his secondary pitches. He wants to get beat with his best pitch. And so, when it comes down for Strauss, he does a lot of homework. He knows the guys he's facing. He's really studies his reports and goes over the hitters for that day. So it's a matter of going out there, not thinking and just executing. Going up there, having a good, good communication with your catcher, whether it's Ramos or Lobaton at this time. And having that good communication to be able to go back and forth and bounce ideas off of. But it's a matter of going out there and executing.
Now, as a pitcher, do you think about who you're pitching against? So maybe you're facing another ace, or do you just worry about the outs you need to get? Do you think Steven Strasburg's thinking about Garrett Cole and vice versa tonight?
The only time Steven's thinking about Cole, I believe, is when he's hitting. So the biggest thing for him is a matter of executing his pitch. I know that each hitter's different, and being able to read hitters is a good quality. But at the same time, you've got to go out there, whether you're throwing a fastball down and away or down and in. It doesn't matter who it is. You still got to commit and execute that pitch.
He's fallen behind 3 balls, no strikes here to Ike Davis. 1-1 ball game here in the bottom half of the 4th. We're joined right now by Doug Fister down the dugout for the Nationals. 3-0 the count here to Ike Davis. with 2 away. Davis taken all the way, now 3 balls and 1 strike. Doug, real quick, you had said how you like this team and you see the potential, and you guys at 500 right now, it seems like you're right on the cusp when you get, LaRoche back and you yourself came back. Do you feel it? Do you feel like you guys are right there about to start something good?
That's the thing. I've been feeling it since I got here. The camaraderie, the family atmosphere that we have. Guys are playing well together. We've gone through some hiccups, a few injuries. And the injuries haven't been to some of the smaller guys. It's, guys like Zim and LaRoche. Missing those guys in the lineup is going to hurt. But we've had, a lot of guys step up and fill some big roles and some big shoes. So, that's always a good sign. And being able to stay at the 500 mark or right where we're at, missing those big names and the quality at bats and defense that they bring to the table, that's a great, mode of potential for you. And that's something that really gives you a good opportunity when those guys come back. Now it's a matter of, hey, you got your big sticks back, you've got your great defenders back, and now you can get rolling again.
All right, and before we let you go, I have to ask this. Compare Jim Leland to Matt Williams.
It's a little different style, but I really like the fire that Matt brings. He brings the player side in. He hasn't forgotten what it's like to be out there every day. He communicates well with each guy. He goes out there and puts on the uniform just like everybody else does. So it's a matter of, he set the example for 17 years, and now it's a matter of he wants us to go out there and play. And I think that's a great attribute for him to bring to our table.
You got to make him wear cleats like Jim Leland, don't you?
I think Skip did wear some cleats there for a while, but I think Matt's doing well on the turfs right now.
Hey, Doug, thanks so much for joining us. Stay healthy and good luck the rest of this year.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Bottom half of the 4th inning, 1-1 ball game, 2 outs. Ike Davis on at first and Russell Martin at the plate. And now it's 1 ball and 1 strike. And good news for Pirates fan, there is Garrett Cole back in the dugout.
Well, I think that bullpen call, you saw Clint Hurdle call his bullpen, was heads up. We're going to let him go out there and see how he feels.
Right.
So everybody on red alert right now in the Shark Tank out there for the Pirates.
And also, if he goes out there and he can't pitch, then the guy in the bullpen gets as much time as he needs to warm up for coming in for an injury.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you see guys getting loose a little bit, walking around just in case.
1 ball, 1 strike, the count to Russell Martin. Neil Walker tied this game up with a solo shot to straightaway center field. Going the other way with it is Martin. First and second, 2 outs. So the Pirates trying to get a 2-out rally going here in this 4th inning.
And Strasburg trying to calm down after the big-time home run off the bat of Neil Walker. Walked Ike Davis, now gives up a base hit to Russell Martin, all with 2 outs. There has been times throughout Steven Strasburg's career where he's had trouble reeling it back in when things don't go exactly the way he wants. Cruising along, all of a sudden a home run, the no-hitter's gone, the shutout's gone. And he's got to get a big 3rd out here for his ball club to get out of the 4th.
And this is big right now because it's Pedro Alvarez at the plate. First pitch, changeup. I love that call right there.
A pitcher's got to be like a golfer. If he makes a bad shot, he's got to get right back on the horse and make a good shot. And you have to have a short memory. It's about this pitch. It's not about how you got to this pitch. What do I have to do right now to get out of this?
Fouled away. No balls and 2 strikes here to Alvarez, who brought it into an inning-ending double play back in the 2nd.
And on the other side of that, if you're a hitter, you smell blood in the water sometimes. You can see when guys are squeezing it or maybe have changed their delivery or their demeanor on the mound. When you play this game for a living and you do it every day, if a guy blinks wrong, as a hitter, you notice it, and it could give you an advantage.
It all goes back to giving away location or giving away pitch, right?
It always does.
0-2, got him swinging a big strikeout with a changeup by Steven Strasburg. So just like we saw in the top half of the inning, we see in the bottom half of the inning. Neil Walker ties it up with a solo shot. We go to the top of the 5th, 1-1 ball game. Out there on the hill for the Pirates. Kind of twisted the ankle on the last out in the 4th inning. And he starts off Steven Strasburg with a fastball low outside for ball 1.
I think it'd be more of a problem for Cole if it was his left ankle, because that's what he's landing on. You still have to have the balance point over the rubber and put all the weight on your right side. But if you twist your left ankle, now you're landing on it. That could hurt. But we watched him in his warm-up pitches. Probably went in the clubhouse, taped up the ankle, and once again showing us old school.
Just toughing it out. Strasburg fouls it back. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, with that said, the land, it's the right ankle, so that's what he has to push off of.
Right, but if it was the left ankle and all your weight's going on that after you make the pitch, that would be tough.
Either way, it's not going to be fun. Blows it right by Strasburg there at 96. Strikeout number 6 here for Gerrit Cole. Tomorrow it's the Coca-Cola 600 from Charlotte. Coverage begins with NASCAR race day at 4:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1, and live race coverage begins at 5:30 p.m. Eastern here on Fox. It's all part of 10 Days of Thunder, only on Fox and Fox Sports 1, and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
You know, it's a cruel game, but if I saw a pitcher twist his ankle and I was a speed guy, I wouldn't be afraid to lay down a bunt. In a 1-1 ball game?
Denard Span does not.
But honestly, I don't know how many national players saw him twist his ankle. You see him staying over the mound, all the weight on the backside, and it's the right ankle.
Span lies on the left. Marte right there. 2 away.
Anthony Rendon's doing right now. A couple of quick outs. His pitcher lit off the end, even though he struck out and didn't run around. You want to give your pitcher a chance to relax for a second before he has to take the mound to get in the 6th at the bottom of the 5th.
Rendon walked his last time up. That great at bat. An 11-pitch at bat, fouling off fastball after fastball, and each fastball was 97 or higher. 1-0 in there for a strike, 1-1. And he finally took a slider outside for ball 4 to work that walk.
Matt Williams hoping that that's the at-bat that gets him back on track.
Fastball missing outside. 2 balls and a strike. 2 away here in the 5th. Gerrit Cole versus Steven Strasburg. Pirates and Nationals. 1-1 ball game. Solo home run each side. Fastball outside again, and Russell Martin, you could see him talking to Gabe Morales back there, and I'm almost wondering if, because Martin's setting up in one spot and he has to reach back, that still may have caught the plate.
I think he was saying that Gabe Morales was leaning on him and he didn't like it.
3-1 hit to left field for a base hit.
Watch Morales. He's leaning over Russell Martin, and I think he kind of pushed him into the pitch as I'm doing it to you right now in the booth.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
No, it's not touching him. I'm trying to figure out what Russell Martin is saying to him. He was pointing to his pitcher. Now he's still having an animated conversation with Morales. I think there was a little more to it than just the ball or strike call.
Maybe it was bad breath. He wants to come
I have no idea.
2 outs, runner on at first base is Rendon now for Jason Worth, who struck out looking to end the 3rd. Rendon takes off. Martin's throw down, not in time. Stolen base for Rendon. That's his 3rd of the year. And he stole that one off of Cole.
A nice piece of hitting by Anthony Rendon to get out with 2 outs, and then he's off to the races on the first pitch. Russell Martin pulls this throw once again on the shortstop side of the bag. And if you remember earlier in the game when Nate McLeod stole, he did the same thing. So Garrett Cole very deliberate to the plate, and that's taken advantage of Cole's times and Martin throwing it to the wrong side of the base.
So once again, Jason Worth gets to hit with a runner in scoring position. Now behind in the count, 0-1. Fastball is inside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
This is where, as a hitter, you're thinking, did he just go fastball in off the plate to get to the slider away? Do I dive out there for the slider again, or do I look for a fastball on the inner half?
How much thinking do you do as a hitter in the box?
Most hitters will tell you they don't guess, but they're lying to you. It's an educated guess. I would say 90-95% of hitters guess every single pitch until you get to 2 strikes. Then when you're with 2 strikes, you look fastball and adjust to everything else. But you're not just flipping coins in your head. It's an educated guess based on what the sequence has been to that point.
Outside with a fastball, 2 balls and a strike.
Lovely night for a boat cruise. It is. Things going downstream.
Rendon a big lead off at second. Cole just takes a look back.
Hitters will tell you with 2 outs, don't jump around back there. It gets in my line of vision. With 1 out, it's okay if you think about stealing third. But with 2 outs, stand there and let me drive you in.
2-1, nice pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the dirt, good block by the veteran catcher. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit MLB.com for details. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 5th, runner on at second here in this 1-1 ball game. The payoff pitch. Fastball missing outside at 98. First and second, 2 outs.
It's a good trip by Russell Martin, the leader of this ball club, going to go out and try to calm down Garrett Cole, who's made some pretty good pitches in this inning to the glove side, outside to right-handers, and he hasn't got the call. That one a little bit off the plate. But I think the one to Anthony Rendon a lot closer. So now, calm him down, young guy, not even a year in the big leagues yet, and go over game plan on what you want to do to Wilson Ramos. Take his mind off the negative and try to get some positive thoughts into his mind, as he has to get out a pretty good hitter right here with 2 outs.
This is really now the 3rd straight inning where Cole has labored. Had that long 3rd inning. Gave up the home run in the 4th. And now he's got 1st and 2nd here in the 5th, and he starts off Ramos with a slider outside for ball 1.
Well, the more that I think about it, Russell Martin might have been saying that Anthony Rendon tipped that on the check swing. That's what he was pointing at.
Runners go. And a foul ball. Matt Williams getting aggressive here in the 5th inning.
Well, it's something that Matt Williams talked about in spring training, and how the Nats were going to be aggressive on the bases this year. The guys were going to have the green light until they showed him they didn't deserve the green light. But quite frankly, up to this point, they haven't been that aggressive on the bases. There hasn't been a whole lot of stealing going on. I think they just have an opportunity right now with Garrett Cole and his times to home plate to take advantage of that.
As a team, they've got 22 stolen bases on the season. 1 ball, 1 strike to Ramos, who's 0 for 2. Foul back, 1-2. You mentioned earlier that Ramos had missed all that time. 32 games. How long does it take a player to come back and feel comfortable seeing the ball at the plate?
That's different for everybody. Some guys 10 at-bats, some guys 40 at-bats.
1-2, foul straight back.
And it depends on what the injury is. When you lose guys to the DL, everybody thinks, yay, we're getting them back. But it takes a while once you get back to get to the form that you had before you got hurt. So when you get a Ryan Zimmerman back, when you get a Russell Martin back, whoever's been on the DL, it's not a video game to where you just plug them in and they're the same guy they were before they got hurt. It takes a while to build up your strength. It takes a while to build up to game speed. And when you come back in the end of May to when the game's moving pretty fast, faster than it was in April, it takes a minute to catch up.
In the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Again, a meeting here between Russell Martin and Garrett Cole. One run on 4 hits and no errors for Washington. 1 run on 2 hits and no errors for Pittsburgh. 90th pitch of the game is coming up here for Garrett Cole.
Matt Williams looking for that big knock that his ball club really hasn't been able to get in the last week or so.
Turn and look back at Rendon at second. Rendon with a 2-out single. He's at second. Jason Worth on at first base. Two-two, fisted towards right field. That drops in for a base hit. Rendon will come in to score. Down to third goes Worth as Harrison and Walker kind of collided out there in right field. A 2-out RBI single for Wilson Ramos, and the Nationals take the 2-1 lead.
Well, Matt Williams always says that Wilson Ramos is going to be a great RBI guy for him because he keeps his hands inside the baseball. And you watch the swing by Wilson Ramos. Wasn't pretty, but he put it in play. You see the fastball chasing his hands, but he got his hands in the right slot. You saw the reaction from Cole. As soon as he hit it, he knew it was going to drop. Anthony Rendon off to the races, and I thought that Bob Henley, the third base coach for the Nationals, might send Jason Worth. As soon as this gets by Harrison, you're thinking, is he going to send Worth? This will give you a good view of it, but the ball's still not picked up in right field, and Henley stops him.
First and third, 2 outs now for Ian Desmond, who homered his last time up. Two outs here in the 5th. And the fastballs down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes.
And after the play, I looked down and Jason Worth was kind of laying on the ground. Let's see what he did coming around third base. I think he was thinking about scoring, and then he had to put on the brakes. Kind of sat down and went back to the base. Just sitting there maybe wondering why he didn't score.
The 0-2 in the dirt. Good stop by Russell Martin.
Well, if Matt Williams sends Wilson Ramos here at first base, that's going to be news.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Desmond. 2-1 Nationals leading. It's fouled back. No action in the bullpen right now for the Pirates. 94 pitches for Garrett Cole. The Nationals trying to take the 3rd game of this series. The Pirates won the first 2, 3-1 and 4-3.
Boy, if you're Clint Hurdle, you have to love the gutty performance from your right-hander here after twisting his ankle and getting back out on the mound and trying to get through this 5th.
And that just drills Desmond in the back. Bases are now loaded. And Greg Dobbs coming to the plate is 2 for 2. And this will bring out the pitching coach, Ray Searage.
This all with 2 outs. He struck out Steven Strasburg to start the 5th. Then he got Denard Span to fly out to left field. So 2 outs, nobody on. And then Anthony Rendon with a base hit, stole second. Jason Worth with a walk. Wilson Ramos with a fish job to right. And then now Ian Desmond hit by pitch. Haven't seen Garrett Cole pitch enough to speculate if that ankle's bothering him right now, but there's a very good possibility it is.
The first 2 batters, it took 7 pitches combined. Since then, 22 pitches here for Garrett Cole. Bases are loaded, 2 outs. Greg Dobbs at the plate. Again, we go back to this. He has a chance to give up just the 1 run in the inning. It's a big spot in the ballgame. First pitch fastball's inside for ball 1. Worth is on at third base. Ramos at second. And Ian Desmond at first. High and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. So now, if you're Dobbs and you're Matt Williams, Dobbs is 2 for 2. Line drive last time up. Do you free him up or do you make him take a strike?
Oh, this is on Dobbs all the way. There's no take sign 2-0. If he gets a pitch that he likes, he's going to be pumping. He's looking for a fastball right down the middle and nothing else.
Ground ball to first. Ike Davis is there, and Garrett Cole will get out of the inning, giving up just 1 run. The bases left loaded. We head to the bottom half of the 5th. 2-1 Nationals. Sponsored by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Beautiful night here in Pittsburgh, the Steel City. 2-1. Nationals to the Pirates. Garrett Cole approaching 100 pitches. Not happy between innings.
I think they're checking him out, seeing if his ankle's okay.
Here in the bottom half of the 5th, Starling Marte takes the first pitch for a strike.
I'd be surprised if they take a chance with Garrett Cole if his ankle is anything but 100% sound. I mean, that's the franchise, right? That's your future right there.
Marte goes the other way with a pitch and a leadoff single for the Pirates. Celebrate the new season with Chevrolet. Share your excitement using hashtag the new. Leadoff single here for Pittsburgh. Clinton Barmas coming up. Still nobody out in the on-deck circle for the Pirates. Oh, there's Garrett Cole.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays in this game. Gotta love this guy, don't you?
So what's your approach right now if you're Clint Hurdle? You got Barmes at the plate, a leadoff man in Marte who runs well, 12 for 14 in stolen bases.
Just play straight up. I mean, you could let Marte go right here, and he's very aggressive.
Fastball in the inside corner for a strike.
But Steven Strasburg has done a better job this year of paying attention to base runners. If you watch him coming up in the stretch, he'll look right at the runner before he comes up. That's just a, hey, I'm letting you know I'm thinking about you and I'm paying attention to you. Watch how he comes up. This is a different set delivery than he has last year. See that? He just turns over, looks at the runner. He does that every single time to everybody.
Now just steps off.
And last year, admittedly, he said he could have paid more attention to runners. Guys ran wild on him, and now this year he sped up the delivery, throwing over more, looking at him before he comes set.
Slide step, pulled foul, no balls and 2 strikes. And the reason I brought it up was because with Garrett Cole on deck, again, not your typical pitcher as a hitter.
Take a little weight off, maybe? No, it's a good point, and I understand what you're saying. But he's still a pitcher, and you just got to play it straight up. And the Nationals will pay attention to Marte.
Breaking ball is pulled foul again.
And I'm sure Marte has a green light if he wants to go.
Throw back over to check on Marte. There goes Marte. Barmes pulls it foul. Celebrate Sunday all season long with special ticket offers. Head to the ballpark with your friends and family. Go to MLB.com/Sunday. Marte has to go back to first base.
Boy, it just accelerated so quick right there. A tremendous jump, and with 2 strikes, Barmes obviously can't take the pitch, but they talk about 0 to 60 in 1 step. That was impressive. Tools off the charts for the Pirates left fielder.
Not going. The pitch misses inside.
He made a throw last night on a sacrifice fly. Jason Worth on third base, and he's about 300 feet away from home, and you're thinking, well, we're just going to score easy. If the throw was on target, it was a little bit to the first base side, there would have been a play at the plate. You talk about showing off the hose. I mean, one of the better throws I've seen this year.
People have said when Polanco comes up, they got the best outfield in all of baseball. Essentially 3 center fielders in the outfield.
Well, when you look at this place, you need 2 center fielders in left and center because there's so much ground to carry, especially out here in left center field. When you look at that circle that wasn't supposed to be there. You guys got the fancy telestrator.
Changeup misses down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
But there's so much real estate out there. You need 2 speed guys. You need 2 center fielders like they have, and that's by design for the Pirates.
Was that where you wanted a circle?
I wanted an arrow or a line, but I definitely didn't want a circle.
Throw back over.
Nats fans will tell you I'm pretty infamous for drawing on the telestrator, so that doesn't surprise them a bit.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Clint Barmes with Starling Marte on at first. Marte goes, pitches outside, the throw. That was awkward. Marte is out. I'm not sure what happened there.
Did he think it was ball 4? You see Clint Hurdle saying, what's the count? I think Marte got confused, thought it was ball 4, and didn't slide. But watch this. This is the oddest play you'll ever see with a guy stealing second base. Ramos with a throw. Great pick by Danny Espinosa. And for some reason, Marte did not slide at second base. Look at the pick by Espinosa on a nasty sinker from Wilson Ramos. Look at the glove work by Danny to tag out Starling right there to get the second out.
And now Barmer strikes out for the second out.
The strikeout, yes.
That was awkward on several different fronts. Caught stealing 2-4. And now a strikeout. 2 away. And here comes Garrett Cole.
Does he roll his head and look? He does.
Yep.
So he picks up the pitch, knows it's a ball, and got confused on the count. Sometimes a base steal or steal second, you don't roll your head, you hear the pop of the glove, and you mistake it for the sound of the bat. You start looking for the baseball like it's hit, but that wasn't the case right there. He looked right in and just lost track of the count.
1 ball, 1 strike to Cole, who popped out to second his first time up. So a wasted opportunity right there for the Pirates. A leadoff single. And it could have been a stolen base. Two and 1 the count here to Cole. Outside, 3 balls and 1 strike.
Well, maybe not the way Steven Strasburg designed it, but when you get a lead, and in my experiences, when aces get a lead, that's it. They turn into a different guy. They turn into their own closer. And Strasburg and the Nationals need a shutdown inning. And after the Marte single, you're thinking, uh-oh.
Right.
But him doing them a favor by not sliding. And the strikeout of Barmes, and now he's looking for a strike to Cole, would be the shutdown inning that the Nationals need.
Chopper to third. That is foul. I was also thinking along these lines. Cole twisted the ankle. If he were to get on base right now, he's going to have to run the bases. That's not the worst thing in the world if you're a Nationals fan. I mean, yes, it puts a tying run on. You got to face the top of the order. Maybe you make him run, but don't have to worry about it. He strikes out. Forget all of it, all right? We're through 5. It's 2-1 Nationals. Back and Body, the official pain reliever of MLB, and by Burger King. Come try the new Chicken Big King only at Burger King. Nighttime here in Pittsburgh. Tonight's pitch comparison brought to you by Bank of America. This star-studded matchup of Strasburg versus Cole. Right now, advantage Steven Strasburg. 69 pitches for Strasburg, 98 for Cole, and Cole is back out here to start the 6th inning against Danny Espinosa. Bottom third of the order for the Nationals. And Espinosa, first pitch swinging, 0-1.
I'll tell you what, they've both been great. I mean, this has been as advertised for me.
You know, with Cole, he's had to pitch in and out of jams. The Nationals have left 7 men on base through the first 5 innings. Backdoor breaking ball. No balls and 2 strikes to Espinosa, who's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts.
I don't know if it's leaving 7 men on base when you're facing a guy like Garrett Cole, because he's getting paid to bear down and get those guys out too in tough situations. And we've been talking about his moxie all game long, and to me he's been getting tougher in the bigger situations, and that's what the great ones do. He's so young, not even a year in the big leagues, but the stuff he's shown me in big situations tonight has probably been more impressive than if he just went out there and thrown a no-hitter.
Got him on the backdoor breaking ball. And that's 3 strikeouts for Espinosa on the night. Did not like the call.
Check out the pitch and the location. Russell Martin setting up on the outside. It looked like it came back and got the corner.
7 strikeout for Garrett Cole. Now Nate McLouth at the plate. And that first pitch fastball is outside for ball 1. McLouth was hit by a pitch in the 3rd, stole a base, and grounded out to 2nd to end the 4th inning. Fouls it straight back. 1 ball and 1 strike. Fastball missing. 2-1. Nate McLouth, an all-star when he was here with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Gold Glove winner.
People loved him here in Pittsburgh.
Well, what's not to love? The guy plays hard. He brings his lunch pail and his hard hat every single day. The numbers aren't where he wants them, but with some players it's about more than the numbers and what they bring to the ballpark every single day.
3-1 is outside. Ball 4. Second time McLouth is on in the game. And that'll bring up Strasburg. McLouth, I mean, here's a guy who went for being an all-star, traded to the Atlanta Braves, and has basically had to climb back from oblivion. Signed to the Baltimore Orioles, kind of resurrected his career under Buck Showalter, and now here he is with the Nationals as Strasburg squares around the bunt.
And was willing to sign with the Nationals as a 4th outfielder, and not many guys will do that. They'll tell you, well, I'm going to go somewhere where I can start. I don't care if they win or not. He wanted to win, and he's hoping that happens still.
Alvarez almost even with the mound as Strasburg pushed the bunt to first. Good bunt. Davis fields, sacrifice 3-4. Down to second base goes McLouth. The MLB Fan Cave is back. Some of baseball's biggest stars are scheduled to visit and appear in Fan Cave videos. Check out all the latest cave happenings at MLBFancave.com. You can follow at MLB Fan Cave on Twitter and like the MLB Fan Cave on Facebook. Two away, top of the order for Denard Span against Cole. Span is 0 for 3, lined out to left field his last time up. Again, the Nats have a runner in scoring position against Cole now here in the 6th inning. Missing outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
Yeah, last 6 games, Denard Span's been one of the hottest hitters for the Nats. He's hitting .429, 12 for his last 28. So this is the proverbial right man, the right spot for Matt Williams.
The Nats have had a runner in scoring position now in each of the last 4 innings. Missing inside with a fastball.
It's a good stop by Russell Martin. That goes to the backstop now. Engeltoft gets third base.
Career high for Garrett Cole tonight with 109 pitches. In his young career. Trying to battle through and get through this 6th inning for his team. Fastball paints the outside corner. 2-1.
Good pitch. Behind the count, has to hit a spot. Knows that the hitters all systems go. And it just paints the black. Good target by Martin. Nice frame. Good strike one.
Clouth worked a 1-out walk with sacrifice a second by Strasburg. The 2-1. Fastball just tailing outside. Now 3 balls and a strike to Denard Span with Anthony Rendon on deck.
Cole didn't like the call. Hurdle didn't like the call.
A couple players here tonight that haven't liked the strike zone of Gabe Morales. Timeout asked for by Span.
There's been so many first-year umpires this year with the whole new review thing in New York, to where the crews have to rotate through the headquarters. And I'm seeing names and guys that I've been in baseball a long time and I haven't seen before.
3-1 ripped to right field. Harrison is there, and that will end the inning. No runs on no hits, 1 man left on. We hit the bottom of the 6th, 2-1 Nationals. All right, thanks so much, Kevin. We got a 2-1 ball game here, bottom half of the 6th. The top of the order due up against Steven Strasburg's Josh Harrison, Neil Walker, and Andrew McCutchen. for the Pirates. Harrison 0 for 2. Fouled out to third and struck out his last time up. First pitch fastball and there for a strike. Breaking ball pulled foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Well, Josh Harrison has had himself a week for the Pirates. On Sunday, hit the go-ahead home run in the 7th inning against the Yankees, then made this catch to basically save the game. Then saved another game on Thursday night against the Nationals. And how about this for the final out last night against the Nats? And oh, by the way, he is a utility player.
Boy, you wouldn't know it watching those plays.
Time for our T-Mobile Game Changer, brought to you by T-Mobile, official sponsor of Game Changers. And this is what he has done. Look at what he's done in 13 starts. And I know you can appreciate this as a former utility guy yourself.
I mean, he just adds energy to the lineup for Clint Hurdle, especially at the top. And what he's done defensively alone has been spectacular. I mean, he looked like a Gold Glove left fielder, and then we show the highlights in right. He looks like a Gold Glove right fielder. And those just weren't great plays. Those were plays with the game on the line. Yeah. There's a big difference between laying out in the first inning and laying out late when everything's going on. And he's just such a good ball player. He works so hard every day at every position that he plays. And utility players will tell you, they want it to appear when you come to the ballpark and see them play at a given position, like that's their natural position. They take pride in that, to where you see them in left field and you say, that guy's a pretty good left fielder. Not that that guy's a pretty good utility player playing left field.
Another 1-2 breaking ball hit well to left field. McLeod going back, still back, reaches up to make the catch. Harrison's great week almost continued.
Almost on cue. Wow, did he give this one a ride, and what a great play by Nate McLeod. Harrison barrels this ball up. We just showed the home run in New York. Very similar swing from Josh Harrison, and watch Nate McLeod. We just talked about how he won a Gold Glove as a Pittsburgh Pirate. Clean route, knows where he's at, feels the warning track, crashes into the fence. Everybody did everything right on that play.
And wow. You said before you essentially need 2 center fielders here at this ballpark. Nate McLeod was a center fielder here for the Pirates, and he went a long way to make that catch.
Good point.
Neil Walker, who homered his last time up, takes the first pitch breaking ball outside for a ball. Walker, the Pittsburgh native, 1 for 2. A home run in the 4th and a strikeout back in the 1st. This was the home run in the 4th inning as we're speaking of Doug Fister.
Yeah, this is Doug Fister's fault on the Nationals bench, I guarantee it. But Neil Walker got all of that ball. I mean, it had a loud sound off the bat, belt high pitch. It's one of the deepest parts of this ballpark. That ball was absolutely crushed.
Good changeup right there by Strasburg. 1 ball and 2 strikes. What's your favorite ballpark?
Wrigley Field, hands down. But this one is as good as it gets. Probably Wrigley here in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And you could just put them in any order. This place, I mean, they did it right.
I think actually an underrated ballpark is Kansas City.
That's a fantastic place. I love it there too. But this place last year was just magical. I mean, you turn on games and you see this place rocking, and you know, I think the Pirates doing good is good for baseball.
Yep.
And everybody was rooting for this club last year that wasn't in it. And to see the 1-game playoff with Cueto here and how electric this ballpark was and how the city just fell in love with this team again, and how it's kind of broken their hearts the last couple of years to where they had a good first half and fall off. Last year that didn't happen. It was a magical ride.
3-2 pulled to first. Strasburg covering. 2 away. The new season of The Ultimate Fighter has begun, and it's not too late for you to get caught up on what critics are calling the best season yet. Don't miss an all-new Ultimate Fighter this Wednesday at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
So if you're Steven Strasburg right here facing the reigning MVP, do you challenge him in a one-run ball game in the bottom of the 6th inning? Do you go right after him? The only thing is, if you pitch around him, he'll be on second base in a few pitches. So I think you just got to execute the game plan. And I'm sure McCutchen has big plans on his mind right now.
I think if Steven Strasburg is the ace that he's supposed to be, then he goes right at him.
I like that.
Good fastball in the outside corner, 1-1. What's that old adage? Good pitching beats good hitting.
Good pitching beats MVPs.
Nice breaking ball.
That was nasty. 79 by Strasburg, locked him up. See the curveball from Steven Strasburg, or at least the end of it. It's right there. McCutchen's thinking that's high. Drops right in the zone.
The 1-2 in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And just in case you're wondering, McCutchen is 1 for 12 lifetime against Strasburg.
If Ike Davis gets hot and does what Ike Davis is capable of doing, Andrew McCutchen could win back-to-back MVPs. But he has to have some protection behind him so that they have to challenge him.
2-2 fastball is up high. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
These guys are having a blast in the dugout. We watched them between innings talking about how close those pitches were on the outer half of the plate. And they were having a laugh about it.
3-2. One hopper gets past Desmond. McCutchen takes a wide turn. He will stop at first. Gotta think that's a hit.
Oh, that ball was roasted, yes.
Rocketed off the bat.
I thought McCutchen might try to get to second base on this because it kind of trickled off the glove of Ian Desmond. An absolute one-hop bullet. McLeod hustles in, and McCutchen stops at first base. And now we play the cat and mouse game of the throw-overs, the step-offs, and maybe a few pitch-outs.
McCutchen 7 for 7 in stolen bases on the season. Ike Davis 0 for 1, a line out to center, and he walked his last time up. Espinosa playing about 15 feet back on the outfield grass at second base. And the fastball is taken for a strike.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Ian Desmond is covering on a steal.
So here's my question. Watch him to see if he goes open mouth, closed mouth with his glove. No. Because that happened one other time I was doing a game. I'm like, what are they doing that for?
Well, out of habit, of course. I don't think you need to do that right here. I'll tell you what, Randy Knorr, the bench coach for the Washington Nationals, controls.
How about this little cat and mouse game? McCutchen's not moving right now.
Look at this. He's just kind of standing there at first on the step off. He didn't move. I'm going to throw over again. What I was trying to say is Randy Knorr is the bench coach for the Nationals. He controls the running game. So he calls throwovers, pitch outs, the holds. You see him giving the signs right there. Those aren't pitches. He's giving the are we going to pick off or not sign to the catcher. And last year with Davey Johnson, there wasn't a lot of that going on to where Davey didn't want Randy Knorr to throw over. Davey Johnson's philosophy being it disrupts the pitcher's rhythm and let them get to third. These guys are so good they're not going to score. Randy Knorr this year has the freedom because of Matt Williams being the manager to control the running game a little bit more, and he's done a fantastic job so far this year.
1 ball, 1 strike here to Davis. With McCutchen on at first base, 2 outs here in the 6th. Davis fouls it back, 1-2. And to what you're saying,
what a difference, right? That's just attention to detail. And it's one manager's philosophy versus another manager's philosophy. But Randy Knorr is as sharp a baseball manager is out there, and he does a wonderful job for the Nationals of controlling the opposition's running game.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Wouldn't be surprised if McCutchen tries to take off soon on this pitch. with 2 strikes on Davis.
No, it's a good count to run on. It's usually off-speed count. It's also a good count to pitch out on if you think he's rolling.
Not going, and Davis strikes out in the breaking ball. So Strasburg gets around the 2-out single. Strikeout number 6 on the night for Strasburg. We're through 6, 2-1 Nationals. And Fox Sports Supports is especially proud to recognize the Army's Gold Star Pin campaign, which honors the families of fallen service members. To learn more, visit goldstarpins.org. A new pitcher into the game right now for the Pirates. It is the right-hander Jared Hughes on the season, 2-1, a 2.77 ERA in 11 games, and he'll face Anthony Rendon. First pitch fastball's in there for a strike.
A 2-pitch guy, fastball and a slider. The fastball averages 92 miles an hour. He throws it 90% of the time, and the slider at 84.
There was a slider. And this is 1 ball, 1 strike. So if he throws a fastball 90%, will the slider be about 10%?
By my University of Miami math, yes. Just nailed that.
Fastball popped up. First base. Davis in foul territory. 1 away. Jason Worth will step to the plate. Jared Hughes in relief of Garrett Cole, who went 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 3 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Worth walked his last time up, 0 for 2. A ground out and a strikeout looking. And the first pitch fastball's in there for a strike.
Jason Worth has hit into a lot of tough luck this year. I'd say of all the Nationals hitters, he's lined out the most. Major league hitters are hitting .661 when they hit line drives. Jason Worth is hitting just .435 when he hits a line drive.
Is anybody else besides me still surprised he's got the beard and the long hair?
No.
Or has it just become him?
It's just who he is. It's his look. It's his persona. It's his vibe. And it's his swagger all in one.
I'm impressed he got all that in one.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjectives I just threw out there.
1 ball and 2 strikes here to Worth. So do you think if Johnny Damon had never left the Red Sox to go to the Yankees, he would have kept that look?
Absolutely.
1-2 missing outside of the slider. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think you should come back with that look for next year.
I could pull it off, except for it'd be gray.
2-2 fastball misses down low.
But as a player, if you think it works, it works. And it's all about the sports psychology of it. And if you think by having a beard or not having a beard or wearing your uniform a certain way makes you feel confident, then whatever it takes.
3-2 broken bat. And alertly, Hughes able to pick it up in fair territory, and they will get the out.
Wow, you talk about a lot of things going on one pitch. That was hit or be hit for Jason Worth. This pitch chasing him. He tries to hold up his swing. Handle in his hand, barrel toward the mound, ball down the first baseline. And that will definitely not go into the category of a line drive for Jason Worth. He guessed right. He got a fastball. It just wasn't the location he was looking for. And a good pitch.
By the way, this is what the world has come to. Jason Worth's beard has a Twitter account.
It does. I follow him.
And I just got a tweet saying, "How dare you?" You follow it?
I do. I don't know how beards tweet. They don't have thumbs, but whatever.
2 away here as Ramos swings the first pitch and misses.
He has brought a different attitude to Washington, D.C. baseball, and that's exactly why Mike Rizzo signed him. It made so much difference, a lot like Russell Martin has for the Pirates. You bring that winner's mentality, a guy that's won baseball games and played October baseball. Russell Martin has done it. He's changed the thought process around here. And the same with Jason Worth on the other side.
And I think, people kind of criticized Mike Rizzo for how much money he gave to Jason Worth. People were shocked by it. 1-1, but again, it's what you're saying, kind of changing that philosophy, that attitude within the team and the organization. And sometimes maybe you have to go over what you would normally pay for his statistics because of the intangibles that he brings.
Yeah, and you show everybody else you're serious about winning.
1 ball, 2 strikes here to Ramos. Had the RBI single his last time up. Lays off the slider, 2-2. That RBI single was the go-ahead RBI in the 5th inning. Now we're here at 2-1. Nationals lead the Pirates, top of the 7th. Ground ball left side, backhand play, long throw and a pick by Ike Davis. Nice play by Barmes and Davis to end the top of the 7th. Well, helping your friends, right? It's stretch time here in Pittsburgh. 2-1 Nationals. Budweiser, designated driver, and enjoy the great times. And with a new Samsung Galaxy S5, the next big thing is here. Bottom of the 7th inning. Here in Pittsburgh, Pirates trail the Nationals 2-1. Russell Martin, Pedro Alvarez, Starling Marte against Steven Strasburg. First pitch, swinging line drive, base hit for Martin. Time for a game break. Let's go back to Kevin Burkhardt to our studios in LA. What a devastating loss for the Red Sox. If I'm not mistaken, they jumped out to a 5-0 first inning lead. And they lose 6-5 and 15. Leadoff man on base now for Pedro Alvarez. Takes the first pitch fastball in the outside corner for a strike. Alvarez last night.
First pitch changeup from Jordan Zimmerman. And he was all over it. Straightaway center field. That was really the only mistake that Jordan Zimmerman made last night, and Alvarez, with that tremendous pop he has, made him pay.
0 for 2 tonight. Grounded into a double play, struck out his last time up. Breaking ball, 1 ball and 1 strike. Nobody up in the bullpen for the Nationals. Strasburg approaching 100 pitches. There is some movement out there. Guys just getting up to loosen up. Outside with a changeup, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, this is winning time for both ball clubs. As you look at Tyler Clippard starting to get loose in the Nats bullpen, or just doing his exercises. He's the 8th inning guy for the Nationals.
Another changeup on 2-1. Now it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Starling Marte on deck. He singled his last time up.
Russell Martin missing a good month with a hamstring. I don't think he'll be running. Doesn't have a stolen base 1 attempt this year. But you never know.
2-2 fastball, throw down at first base, not in time. A strikeout of Alvarez. That's the 7th strikeout of the game for Strasburg. 1 away here in the 7th.
Strasburg, which is a great sequence right there to Pedro Alvarez. Went first pitch changeup, then he went 2-1 changeup, and he finished him off with the fastball. So pitched him backwards, and it worked. And you see the throw and the tag from Greg Dobbs, and just couldn't get there in time. Good hustle by Russell Martin to get back. It's one catcher to another, folks. That's the catcher's club right there saying, pretty good throw.
Don't ever do that again.
Knock it off. Although Russell Martin likes to get dirty. He's that kind of guy. He's looking for excuses to dive. And he has fun playing the game, and it's always nice to see.
1 away here from Marte. Now he's having fun with first base umpire Tim Timmons. Fastball on the outside corner. No balls and 1 strike here to Marte. Bottom half of the 7th inning, double barrel action now here for the Nationals. Jerry Blevins the lefty, Drew Storen the righty. Bounce foul, 0-2.
Well, now's when you really have to trust your catcher if you're Steven Strasburg. Got a one-run ball game, bottom of the 7th inning. And the book would say that you try to bounce something to Starling Marte right here. He's a swinger. He's going to try to make contact at a borderline pitch or maybe even a ball at times. So if you're thinking about bouncing the changeup or bouncing the curve, you got to be careful with Russell Martin on first base, represent the tie and run. He could advance, so it may take that away from Strasburg's arsenal right here because you don't want the tie and run to get to scoring position.
Hit to right center field. Worth is going back. He won't get there, off the wall. Martin's being held up at third. A double for Starling Marte.
And to the point, Strasburg left the curveball up enough for Marte to make contact. Maybe he wanted to bounce it, but thinking about the tie and run getting to second base should it bounce, he left it out over the zone. Marte showing tremendous pop by drilling that ball in the gap. We talked about the tools off the charts for Marte. Pirates fans know it. Nationals fans know it. If you're just tuning in now, you know it. What a swing by Marte. Short, compact, right in the gap. And I guarantee you, if you run down there and ask Steven Strasburg, he was trying to bounce that curveball to Marte.
So instead of bouncing it to Marte, leaves it up. Marte hits it off the wall. A double. Second and third. One out here in the 7th. A pinch hitter. And Jose Tabata will bat for Clint Barnes. And already in the on-deck circle is Travis Snyder. So you wonder, is this the last batter for Strasburg? You've got Blevins, the lefty, warming up out there in the bullpen.
Well, we'll see. First things first. I mean, this is the ball game right here. At least to this point, the most crucial at bat. And if you're Steven Strasburg, you got to be your own closer, and you're going for the strikeout. Matt Williams, with the go-ahead run on second base, is playing his infield back with one out.
Strasburg's got 7 strikeouts on the night. First pitch, Tabata's hacking away, fouls it back out of play.
Pinch hitting is tough enough in and of itself, but when you come up in a situation like this, game on the line, 7th inning against a Steven Strasburg, not an easy at-bat for Tabata right here, but that was a good first half.
Martin at third, Marte at second. 0-1 is in the dirt.
Russell Martin's going everywhere but third or back to the pitcher. Desmond back, Espinosa back, Dobbs back. The only place he's not going is if it's hit right to Anthony Rendon or Steven Strasburg.
1 ball, 1 strike to the pinch hitter, Jose Tabata. Bottom of the 7th, tying run at third. Fastball misses inside. And it's 2 balls and a strike. Line drive, center field. Span is there. Martin's tagging up. And we have ourselves a tie ball game.
Great at bat. I mean, you talk about sitting around for 3 hours, coming up with the game on the line in a Saturday night ball game. Your ballpark is packed, and you're facing Steven Strasburg, and to be able to throw that line drive out there for a simple sac fly and tie this game up, folks, there was nothing simple about this for Tabata. That is big boy stuff right there for the Pirates, tying this game up. Nicely done.
Are you surprised at all he went to a breaking ball there?
He was going for the punch out, and he thought he was sitting on a fastball, so he tried to trick him with the curveball, but a lot like the one to Marte, he left it up right down the middle, and he made him pay.
Travis Snyder now pinch hitting. In the dirt, Ramos back to recover, and Marte goes back to second.
You just don't know how hard pinch hitting is, and for him to walk up there like that and do that, that's impressive.
So how about this for a number as we look at Snyder's numbers on the season? 2 balls and no strikes. The Pirates, when trailing after 7 this year, 1-20. When tied, 5-2. When leading, 15-4. That sac fly was big.
I'll tell you what, those are some impressive numbers, but 15-4 isn't that great a record when you're leading after 7 innings. You would think it would be 19-0, 18-1. And they've played a lot of one-run ball games, so they're right in their comfort zone.
And now after falling behind in the count 2-0, they're going to intentionally walk Snyder to get to Josh Harrison. Josh Harrison, who hit one to the wall in his last at-bat. A great running catch by Nate McLeod.
Well, Matt Williams playing the percentages, but don't you get the feeling that Josh Harrison loves this stage?
He's been one of the hottest players in the lineup for the Pirates. And the first pitch fastball is outside for ball 1. Harrison is 0 for 3 on the night. Popped out, foul territory to third base his first time up, struck out, and flew off the wall in left field his last time up. Back up the middle. Here comes Marte. The throw comes to third. Out at third. The run scored as Marte crossed the plate before Snyder was thrown out at third to end the inning.
Give Marte credit for running hard through home plate. He knew the play was behind him. He didn't slow down. He crossed the plate, and the run scored.
The Pirates take the 1-run lead. Harrison comes up big again. 3-2 Pittsburgh. run in the bottom of the 7th inning, but look at how close this was. Marte's running third. He's kind of holding up, and all of a sudden he sees, uh-oh, this could be a close play. He crossed the plate, and you could see he clearly crossed the plate before Travis Snyder was tagged out at third to end the inning.
Well, he did a good job of rolling his head and see where the play was going behind him. Once he saw Span throw the ball to third, he picked up speed and crossed home plate way before Snyder was thrown out at third. So that was a nice job by Marte to realize the situation.
Jose Tabata, who had the sacrifice fly to tie it up, he now plays right field. Jordy Mercer comes in to play shortstop. The new pitcher on the hill for Pittsburgh is Jeanmar Gomez. And the first pitch is in there for a strike to Ian Desmond. Gomez on the season 0-1 with a 4.32 ERA.
Got 3 pitches: fastball, slider, changeup. Fastball averages 90 miles an hour.
Inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Strasburg now went 7 innings. He trails by 1. Ground ball, shortstop. Mercer tested right away, makes the play.
Well, he just had a feeling that Josh Harrison, with the week he's having, wanted to be in that position. And you know Clint Hurdle was happy to get one of his hottest hitters up there, a guy who's had an amazing week, confidence level high. You know, when you're scuffling, you don't want to be in those situations, but when you're having the week Josh Harrison's had, you relish the fact that you can be up there with the game on the line, and he came through for his ball club.
Been a fantastic week for Harrison. And what does he get for that? He gets removed. With all the double switches, he's got to come out. Greg Dobbs at the plate. 2 for 3. Ground ball second. Walker with the backhand. 2 away. Next Saturday, we've got another Major League Baseball doubleheader. It begins on Fox Sports 1 with the Braves facing the Marlins. Then it's Baseball Night in America here on Fox as the Rays face the Red Sox, or these Pirates take on the Dodgers. Our MLB doubleheader begins next Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Fox. 2 outs here in the 8th for Danny Espinosa. Rips one. Ike Davis with a nice play. A 1-2-3-4 pitch inning worked by Jeanmar Gomez, getting some help from his first baseman. 3-2 Pittsburgh on top. find new roads. And by the makers of One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB. Bottom half of the 8th here in Pittsburgh. The Pirates now leading 3-2. A new pitcher into the game here for the Nationals. It is the right-hander Drew Storen. Storen on the season 2-1. Look at that ERA, a minuscule 1.1. 17 strikeouts to just 2 walks. The bullpen's been fantastic for the Nationals all year.
Yeah, the best in the National League, and Matt Williams, best pitcher out of the bullpen, is standing on the mound right now. Drew Storen. Fastball's averaging 93. Slider and a change to go with it.
Neil Walker takes the fastball outside for ball 1. Walker homer back in the 4th. That tied the game at 1. Fouled away. 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, if Pittsburgh can get this win here tonight, that would make it 3 in a row in this series. Over the Nationals, they'd win this series. But they would do it without having really 2 of their best pitchers out of the bullpen available in this game. They're 2 lefties, and Justin Wilson and Tony Watson. And also Jason Grilli unavailable. So if they're able to kind of steal a victory here, that's big for the Pirates.
Well, they win the series, first of all, and second of all, I think, and more importantly, they're getting their mojo back from last year. We talked to Clint Hurdles. You look at Jason Grilli out in the Pirates bullpen about, is there any hangover from last year? Are you guys trying to recapture the vibe that you had last year? And did you do anything as an organization to prevent that? Because it's a different story being the hunted versus the hunter. You know, when you have that fantastic year, now people are giving you their best bolt, and you said, hey, we got people's best bolt the last couple of years before we fell off in the second half, and we definitely addressed it in spring training. He said our motto wasn't to survive, it was to thrive and to actually get better in 2014 than we were in 2013. Because of starting pitching and some injuries, it hasn't been there yet, but the ball club I've seen for the last 3 days reminds me exactly of the team I saw in 2013.
Storen's 2-2 pitch. Popped up in the infield. Rendon, 1 away. Fans, follow every game with MLB.com at bat on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. Get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, free MLB.tv, game of the day, and more. Download on the App Store or visit MLB.com today. 1 out now for the MVP, Andrew McCutchen, who singled his last time up. Good pitch, 0-1. The Nats have lost 4 of 5. The Pirates have won 4 of 5. 1 ball, 1 strike here to McCutchen.
And the reason I asked Clint Hurdle that question today when you and I sat in there was because I thought there was a lot of similarities between the Nationals and what they did in 2012 and how they approached the 2013 season. Kind of snuck up on them. They weren't over that Game 5 defeat against the Cardinals. And then you're into the next year and you're still thinking about last year, and the schedule doesn't stop. I mean, it's coming at you fast and furious, and if you're not ready for the following season, it can be brutal. And quite frankly, the Nationals, it took them a while to figure out how to take somebody's best bolt. It was a different vibe for them than they had in 2012.
Good pitch and a strikeout for Storen. 2 away here in the 8th.
Well, anytime the Nationals get that guy out, it's news, and that was a nasty slider from Drew Storen.
The expectation is that the Nationals will get LaRoche back either tomorrow or Monday. Ryan Zimmerman, he's on his way back. Thinking about the beginning of July for Bryce Harper.
Well, you just got to tread water till the troops come back. If you're the Nationals, and if you're the Pirates, I mean, things are looking good from what I've seen in the last week or so. They're playing some pretty good baseball.
You know, it's funny because before the game, we get the lineups and you compare them to last night, and I said, well, you know, the Pirates have the same lineup as last night. And you go, well, yeah, they've been waiting for this all year. They've been waiting for that lineup to click. And now you move Ike Davis up to the 4th hole, you move Alvarez down to the 6th hole, and things are working. You got Josh Harrison, the leadoff position. He's getting things going for them.
Well, I don't think the offense has really been a problem for the Pirates this year, especially in the month of May. They're one of the better offenses in the National League. It's been about their starting pitching. Everybody besides Garrett Cole, if 2, 3, 4, and 5 start pulling their weight, which they will. It's a small sample size early in the season. They're going to be just fine in a tough division.
Davis with a hard hit single. Past that shift. 2 outs, runner on first base. And now Russell Martin will get to hit again.
Just seen a different Ike Davis. He told me yesterday, he talked to his dad in the offseason. He said, you know what? I'm just going to try to be a hitter this year. I'm not going to try to hit home runs. I'm going to shorten up my swing and be a 270 guy with maybe 15 home runs versus a 220 guy or a 200 guy with 30 home runs. And you see the side swing. Very simple approach for Davis. To where when he was a New York Met, he had the big hitch, the big leg kick. He was jumping all over the place, striking out a lot, getting booed a lot. And he told me that as a Met, he was in between. He didn't know what they wanted him to do. Do you want me to hit home runs? Do you want me to get on base? Do you care if I strike out? And now he knows exactly what his ball club wants. They just want him to be Ike Davis, to be happy, because there's a tremendous amount of talent there in the Pirates' first baseman. They got a good one.
A visit to the mound by Steve McCatty. 2 outs, run on at first. Levin's a lefty. He is warming up out there in the bullpen. Ike Davis this month, coming into this game, hitting .338. So certainly things are looking up for Davis. Don't forget, next Saturday we've got another Major League Baseball doubleheader. It begins on Fox Sports 1, the Braves against the Marlins. And it's Baseball Night in America right here on Fox as the Rays battle the Red Sox, or the Pirates against the Dodgers. Our MLB doubleheader begins next Saturday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern here on Fox. Two away here in the 8th. Russell Martin, 2 for 2, has been on base all 3 times tonight. And the slider's outside for ball 1. You think the Pirates are happy to have him back?
Yeah, we've been talking about it all game. He's the glue. He's what makes this club go.
Davis takes off from first, and that one hits Russell Martin again. He is very happy he's wearing that Evo shield right there, because that would have hurt a lot.
Well, that got Russell Martin, but it also got Wilson Ramos on the ricochet. So let's see where it got Ramos. He's the one I think that took the brunt, because Martin has the elbow guard on. I think it gets him in the elbow guard. Ricochets and got Wilson Ramos right, I think, in the bicep.
Well, that's going to do it for Storen. Matt Williams has made the call to the bullpen. Blevins is coming in. First and second, 2 outs here in the 8th. The Pirates lead 3-2. Here for the Nationals as they trail 3-2, runners on first and second. The new pitcher is the left-hander Jerry Blevins. 2-1 in 22 games, a 3.38 ERA. He will come in to face the left-hander Pedro Alvarez.
His fastball average is 90 miles an hour. He'll sink it. He'll throw it 4 seams. He's got a cutter at 86, a curveball and a change to go with it. You see this season he's been good with other people's runs. That's how you make friends in the bullpen. That's how you make friends on the starting staff.
Alvarez 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. The Pirates looking for an insurance run. Down low for ball 1.
A huge part of this ball game for both clubs. The Pirates trying to put this one on ice with a couple tack-ons here in the 8th, and the Nats trying to keep it a 1-run ball game.
In the 9th, the Nats have McLouth, a pinch hitter, and then Span. Fastball in there, 1 ball and 1 strike.
I don't know if Ike Davis has ever seen more attention at second base than he's seeing right now, and I have no idea why he's getting so much attention. He's a below-average runner.
Breaking ball pulled. Espinosa from the outfield throws, and they are able to get Alvarez. So the shift worked that time for the Nationals. We go to the 9th. 1-run game. Melancon's coming in trying to close it out for the Pirates. Burger King, and it is courtesy of Josh Harrison. The guy's been so hot for the Pirates in the 7th. Comes through. Base hit up the middle. Scores Marte. Getting thrown out at third base was Snyder. But that was the go-ahead run, and that's why we are in the 9th inning now. In a 3-2 ball game, and Mark Melancon is in looking for the save. Melanson's numbers. 1-2. He's got 8 saves on the season, a 2.05 ERA to face Nate McLouth leading off. And the first pitch fastball is in there, first strike.
Yeah, fastball is synced, averages 92 miles an hour. He'll cut it back at 91. He's got a curveball and a change. He has been scored on just twice in his last 17 outings. That's over 16 innings pitched.
Good pitch, 0-2 to Nate McLouth. How about this? If you're the Pirates, Melanson had the night off last night, so they used Jason Grilli to close it out. You know, their usual all-star closer. Now they're bringing the other all-star guy who's in the close tonight. And McLouth goes the other way with it. Out of play.
Well, this first at-bat is everything in this ball game. You got a 1-run game, bottom of the 9th inning. A leadoff type hitter up there. Jason Grilli on the left with the night off. Mark Melanson in for the save. The leadoff man out here is huge because it takes the bunt away. It takes the whole strategy of Nate McLouth stealing second base. So to me, this is the whole ball game right here, right now.
0-2 with the cutter, just missing. Russell Martin was all set to throw it around the horn.
Clint Hurl frustrated. He thought that was a strike. Russell Martin has thought a lot of pitches have been strikes back there tonight. And that was close.
This time he gets it. McLouth goes down looking.
Well, that's the cutter. You see this one start off the plate away and just come right back and catch a lot of plate on the outer half, and McLouth knew it. Good pitch by Melanson for strike 3.
Pinch hitter now. It'll be Zach Walters. The Pirates aren't an automatic W when leading after 8 innings this year. Walters, the pinch hitter, hitting .188 on the season. He takes the first pitch inside. Walters, of his 6 hits this year, 3 of them are home runs.
A couple off the bench, too.
Big swing, 1-1. Pirates trying to make it 4 in a row and 5 of 6. Ground ball, second base. Walker to a knee. 2 away. Two outs now for Denard Span. And they come to their feet here in Pittsburgh. The Nats have lost 3 in a row and 4 of 5. Span is 0 for 4. Takes the first pitch for a strike. Breaking ball missing outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. The producer of tonight's game is Carol Langley. The director is John Moore. The associate director is Sherrod DeVasker. The broadcast associate is Ben Toder. Technical producer Ann Keith. Technical director Gabriel Bell. Our statisticians Scott Lightman and Jason Thornberry. Chopper, slow roller. Walker, the bare hand, got it for the win. The Pirates make it 4 in a row with a 3-2 victory. For FP Santangelo, this is Justin Kutcher wishing you a good evening from Pittsburgh. Coming up after this quick break, we'll take you to Kevin Burkhardt in our LA studio.